is Ash and Saf here in Dragonheir Silent Gods. We got a couple more videos. Actually, it's going to be part one, part two, kind of our closing thoughts here, Saf, on Dragonheir Silent Gods now that things are wrapping up. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good, sad to come to the end of our little collaboration here.
I feel like we've been saying this the last three collabs. Like, it's sad to be ending, man. But
yeah,
this
it's
is
like when you're coming to the end of summer, isn't it? It's like the last few days of summer, you're like, oh, I wish I'd just done an extra beach run, or like that kind of feeling. But
yeah, right. It's funny. I got a couple people either in the comment. I think actually somebody tweeted me. They're like, dude, why don't you just continue playing even if they're not paying you? And it's like, I can't play.
Physically can't. That is the problem here.
I cannot
not
play
for lack
in the
of
US. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't. I should mention this is a sponsored video and a sponsored channel. Thank you, Dragonheir Silent Gods, for making that possible, even though it's coming to an end. I want to start by talking about kind of the seasonal model, right? A lot of chat about did it make or break Dragonheir? Was it responsible for its lack of, I say lack of success, but I don't think it was. I mean, I guess we can't super get into this because we don't really know exactly why they're shutting down. But I sense that maybe there's some geopolitics involved. But do you think anything had to do with this season? Like, overall, man, seasonal model, you've been playing this game longer than I have. What do you think of it all? Like, what do you think it was a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, so I think obviously it's the first time a gacha type game has tried to do such a, I would say, Diablo style seasonal model, right? Most other games do have a season. Yeah. Other games have like themes, or like Raid, for example, will have like a 3-month period where there's like Monster Hunter themes going on. Yeah. But it's never so terminal. And what I mean by that is it doesn't like pick you back to the start. It doesn't like rotate or anything. Whereas when you're used to playing like ARPG games, Diablo, Path of Exile, it's common. It is a common thing that basically the new season you start a new character. But I think what they missed is they looked at the silo from season one's only. So they created the season one model and then never thought about what happens in season 5. And I think that's kind of the problem, because what is so big about Diablo when you play these ARPGs is you never play the same thing twice, right? You might play Necromancer season 1, and the next season you go, I'm going to try a barbarian, or I'm going to try something else. Where I think they kind of thought that could work, but what it needs to have is content, right? You can't just replay the same content. There needs to be substance. And we kind of had with season 2. It's coming up now if you're a season 1 server.
Yeah, it's like, it's teasing me, bro, because it's like season 2 starts in 3 days. It's like, wait a sec. I'm not going to be able to play that. Go on.
Yeah. And they kind of had like a little bit of storyline, but it wasn't, it was over in 4 days. And the season's like 90 days. So it's like,
it was right back to, so season 2,
same thing.
It was fresh, but only for about a week, if that.
For 4 days, we had a whole new map. There was new game features, like you could go become a boat, and it was pretty cool.
Yes.
But it was all like, it lacked long-term substance. Like we see this a lot in games these days. They release the game, the first half of the game's great. Yeah. And then you get to the end game and you're like, but so what do I do? Yeah. What is there to do? And we were basically back to what we did in season 1. And you can kind of like allow people to do that like 2 seasons. But once you start getting to like where we're at season 4 now, it feels a bit like I'm just logging in, doing the same thing over and over again. Like the seasonal model requires it. Yeah, exactly. The seasonal model almost like thematically makes sense, because you do get a little bit of that. Oh, well, this season I'll start off with Ice Blast, or I'll start off with Burn, or I'll start off with Rally, or I'll start, you get that. But you kind of still have the same concept where you still need to upgrade them, heroes, right? You still have to book them. You still have to do all the usual. It's just, they just reset them to level 1. So you don't get anything back in the sense that you don't start again. They just kind of like reset you.
And like, I haven't done it at all, right? And we're just starting season 2 on our account, so I have not experienced it. But my sense is maybe I would enjoy it for season 2, like the entirety of it, Yeah. And then, but season 3, I'd be like, here we go again. Like, I'm almost picturing in Raid having a reset on all those things. And maybe at first it's kind of cool, like, oh, I'll do things a little bit differently. And then the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th and the 6th time I do that, I'm not sure, man. It might actually disenfranchise me a little bit,
Yeah, and from season 3 onwards, there wasn't even the 4 days, right? You didn't even get the new storyline. All they did is they changed the last
What do you think of season 4 here? I'm showing the trailer in the background here. Phantom of the Sand, something or other.
Well, basically, season 4 at the moment is still like season 3 because there's no new content, right?
Yeah, you got until the other worlds. Yeah,
right. We get new heroes, which is great. Yeah, that's always cool. But until you get to the end, which is in like I think 3 weeks, that'll be where all the new quote content is. But it isn't new content. It's just a new land where you play the same content, which is you fight bosses 15 times a day, and then you fight the end world boss 6 times a day, right? It's not like they've changed the game modes, and even there's a new vortex mode called rage mode, and all it really is the same boss but with modifiers. So it's not even like
it's funny because as you're saying that in the background, it's like all new bosses make their debut, and like
there's a new pillar boss, and they always modify
fiery dragon. Yeah.
They always kind of modify the dungeon bosses, but they always modify them in a way that makes it annoying. As in, it's more frustrating, not more interesting. It's not like they rebuild their skill set. It's just basically like, oh, well, now you can't do as much damage. Like season 2 or 3, they basically made Ancient Battlefield just have flat damage reduction, so you couldn't burst it. It was weird.
So the one complaint I have, and this is like from my point of view, this is the biggest failing, right? Is geez, dude, like we can't even play with our viewers as and I don't mean as a content creator, because obviously that doesn't apply to anybody, but like even your friends. It's impossible to play with your friends unless you start on the same exact day in the same exact server in the same exact season, right? Because remember we made the Alliance, dude? That was the most embarrassing video because we're like, everybody come join in, and no one could join our server, and it was like, oh, cool. So I think it's the staggered, like the fact that you can't even play with your friends, and everybody's on an alternate universe, right? Everybody's on their own universe of the multiverse here of Dragonheir, right? And it doesn't. At least from a social standpoint, it's very tough to actually be experiencing what other people are experiencing, right?
Yeah, you just can't, like every video you would ever make as a content creator on Dragonheir will always be evergreen. It's never going to be one of those, what we like to call 1 of 10 videos, which is like big hype moments, affects everyone because effectively I'm playing in a universe that's like 9 months ahead of a new player.
Even your affinities are different, you know? It's just like, so nothing really,
half the champions don't exist. Half the champion types don't exist. Some of the bosses don't exist. It's like, it's a completely different game. And I mean, certainly when we were talking about the website and like tier lists and everything, it's like, you can't even have one tier list because, well, a player loads up season 4 tier list and they're like, well, I don't even know these champions. It must be the wrong tier list. It's, it's crazy the way that they implemented that philosophy where new heroes weren't introduced across all seasons. It kind of just like feels like that was one of the biggest mistakes of the seasonal model. Basically, they should have had those heroes that come out, because Raid do this very well. You get a brand new batch of heroes, everyone's excited. Is this multiplier good? We only have to see it with the recent Legate Teox release of Raid to look at how successful it is to release heroes, because I've never seen so many people going hard on Prism Shards because of the new champion. And I think if I was to pinpoint one major failing of the seasonal model, it is this like, oh, well, you don't see season 4 heroes until like month 9. It's crazy.
No, it's been a bummer because this game, I mean, I think I could speak for a lot of the viewers as well as yourself that like it does bring a lot of unique and really I guess, for lack of a better like adjective, like some dense strategy, graphic storyline, you know, like it nails it out of the park in a lot of categories. But I do think that the seasonal model has been rough. And again, I've only experienced season 1, but just from all the reasons that we've already spoken about, you know. But hey, the good news is if it ever does come back, Dragonheir Silent Gods in the US, and we can kickstart this channel up again, I'll be excited to do it again. But I would love to see some changes, and that our suggestions for what they can do to fix some of these pain points will be in part 2 of this video. So there you go. It's a little cliffhanger to end things off on, Saf. Any final thoughts regarding the complaints of the seasonal model before we get to the solutions?
No, part 2 is going to be fun. I think, you know,
a little more positive, hopefully constructive at least. Yeah,
exactly. And I just want to say, like like you said, the game actually is a base product. Is very good. The problem is that half of the people can't experience it because how many people are just going to quit before they even reach season 4? It's
indeed.
That's the major problem.
All right, guys, this has been a sponsored Dragonheir Silent Gods video. We'll see you in the next one, a little bit more positive as we put a bow on this channel, at least for the time being.